Welcome to our podcast where we look for opportunities in our lives to see a beautiful view. I'm Candy.
And I'm Paul. Please consider joining us at the Beautiful View Patreon channel. This helps us keep the episodes coming and cover our costs. This platform really makes a big difference for content creators. It provides a way for you to show your appreciation for content you love to watch or listen to. Memberships are only $5 a month. The link is in our show notes, and it's also on our social media accounts.
And in return for your patronage, we'll send you a Beautiful View sticker. You'll get a shout out on the show, receive an encouraging weekly newsletter, and from time to time, we provide our patrons with exclusive content.
Like our dog and her squeaky toy. We look forward to sharing with you today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. Well, I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you.
Hello again. Today we are recording from my parents' backyard in San Angelo, Texas. It is hot down here.
Hot.
Hence the beautiful backdrop on our window today, because our shades definitely have to stay down keep the heat out. So,
and we have the extra measure that we only break out here, which is a giant aluminate kind of like tarp. So it's woven aluminum strands. So it's all woven together in this giant blanket tarp type thing. And we have that hanging on the side of the RV so that the heat stays off of the windows here.
Yes.
And it actually helps a lot.
We
So,
probably should have hung it up before today, but we got it hung today. So.
Like on the day when it was 111 degrees.
Yeah, that day that we made San Angelo made the Jimmy Fallon show or whatever.
The Tonight Show, yeah. It was, was crazy hot.
Yeah, it was
Ridiculous.
San Angelo, Texas was the hottest place in the United States that day. And it was the third hottest in the entire world that day, if that tells you anything. So
111. Try it sometime. You might like it.
Brutal. Anyway, so hopefully that'll help keep the heat down on these crazy hot days. So,
it's working already.
But it is so nice to have my boys and my RV right here in my parents' backyard. So
our moving house is right here in the middle of San Angelo, Texas.
It is.
Lakeview, San
That's
Angelo,
where it all
Texas.
started.
That's where it all started. And I'm glad to finally be here. It was some journey to get here. The usual trip down I-35 was even more entertaining than it usually is, with all of the weather that was happening.
Yes.
And so, but we finally made it down to San Angelo. We saw friends along the way, and so that Tyler got to do something that he really wanted to do. So they got to be at a amusement park for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And had fun. So we came down here separately, and now we're back together again.
Yeah. So I've been down here with my family since April 22nd. On April 21st, I got a phone call that my sweet little mama had been admitted to the hospital. So Emily and we jumped on the first flight out on Monday morning, April 22nd. So
very early.
Very, very early. I think the
very
flight
early.
left at 5:30. So it was a kind of a middle of the night excursion.
Just after midnight when we left to get to Cedar Rapids.
Yes. So it's been a wild ride since I've been here. We ended up with a really scary diagnosis of pancreatic cancer on that first day I was here. And it was later determined that it was too aggressive to treat.
Yep.
So treatment was suspended.
Yep.
And we have had some really good days and some really hard days along the way. But I'm just so thankful that I'm here to be able to help.
Yes.
She's currently home on hospice. And between myself and my siblings, we have been staying with her around the clock. So
Yes.
with me being right here in the RV, being in the backyard and everything, it makes it so easy for me to go back and forth between the house and the RV. And so that's just been really, really nice.
Yeah, it's worked out just ideal to have somewhere to retreat to.
Absolutely.
When you get a break, and so this is good.
Yeah.
And we'd already planned this episode before all of this happened, and so today's episode is called "Enjoy the Journey." Now, that might seem a little ironic when we're facing such big life situations like we are right now.
Yeah. But you know what? God knew before all of this that this episode was next in line. So
Yes.
now we're going to try to give it our best shot. So I'm going to take a big, deep breath and we're going to get through this. Life is a journey.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes there are really, really good times, and sometimes there are really, really hard times.
Yeah.
I think my mom said it best just a couple of days after her diagnosis. She said, live your life today as if you're not going to be here tomorrow. I love that.
Yes.
That is exactly what I strive to do with my life.
Yes.
I think that puts the journey of life in a completely different perspective.
That is so true. There are certain times in life that bring things back into perspective. Today, we're going to talk about some of those times in our lives and the renewed perspective that we gained, encouraging us to seek out adventures, make memories, and truly enjoy the journey that we're on.
Yes. We've had a sign hanging in our RV that says, life is a journey, enjoy it.
Yep.
I found it years ago when we first hit the road full time in our RV, and it's been such a great reminder over the years. I actually have it sitting right here with us today as we record.
Yes,
So.
we do. Let's face it, not every life moment is enjoyable. Blowouts on the side of the highway, water leaks, truck problems, things breaking, financial hardships, health issues, loss, grief. None of these things are enjoyable.
Of course not. These things are hard sometimes. So, how do we learn to enjoy the journey and ride out these difficult times?
Well, the easy thing to do when our journey is difficult is to tank. We fall into depression, we suffer from anxiety, which we've both done in years past.
We have, yeah. Or you can wake up one day and make up your mind to make every single day of your life count.
Yes.
Our faith plays a huge role in how we face each day.
The full-time RV lifestyle was always our retirement plan. But after experiencing some really difficult times, we decided that life was too short to wait until just like someday. We've been on some fantastic journeys over the years. Some were planned and others weren't.
I love the planned journeys. You know, the ones where everything goes exactly according to plan. I think back to our trip several years ago when we visited the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Yes.
I had pretty much planned every single detail of that
Yes,
trip.
you did.
Where we would stay, what we would visit, landmarks I wanted to see, excursions we would go on, hikes we would take. And that trip was so enjoyable just because I had put in so much time to research everything and to plan all of the things.
Yes, and the thing that I planned was pasties.
Yes, you did, and they were delicious. We had them several times while we were there.
Well, not enough times, but they were excellent.
If you don't know what that is, Google it.
Google it. Yes.
Delicious.
Yes. But we've also had times when you put in the work to plan and prepare, and something happens that's completely out of our control, and we've had to completely change our plans.
Yes, that is true. We have, gosh, the year that we went west, we hit all the wildfires on the West Coast,
Yeah,
and we
that was
ended
a
up
lot.
having to shift our trek a little bit inland that way. We had another year where We were going to the East Coast and we hit hurricanes, so we again had to kind of come inland a little bit and shift our path a little bit.
And then, of course, now.
Yes, and most recently, family emergencies that, have altered what we were, originally planning on for the summer, but...
Yes, life definitely has a way of throwing curveballs at us, right?
It does, absolutely.
So the big question is, how do we respond when our journey gets interrupted, when our plans don't pan out, or when we have to change directions?
Well, you know what? If I'm honest, a lot of times my first response is frustration.
Sure.
And not at anyone, but just with the circumstances, I think that's pretty normal.
It is.
When you put a lot of planning into something, or you're already on a set path and something comes along that interrupts that, it is frustrating.
Yes, it is.
Very frustrating. But I usually get over that pretty quickly because I've experienced enough of those situations to know that sometimes God has even a better journey in store for me. So sometimes it's to teach me something.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes it's to allow me to use my gifts. Sometimes it's so that His glory can shine through me. Sometimes it's not about me at all.
Right.
That's usually the first thing that I pray about and try to assess when things go wrong. Is there anything that you would like to add to that?
Well, I've got to admit, like most guys, my focus is usually on the destination. And it's not the ideal way to ensure a good journey.
Yeah.
If I approach a travel day with the attitude of, okay, well, we may be on the road for 6 hours today, but it'll be worth it when we arrive.
Sure.
Then I'm setting myself up for a bad day. That's kind of like, the cup half empty kind of thing. It's almost like I'm trying to spread out the joy of arriving through the entire day, and that spreads the joy just a little bit too thin. What would be a better approach is to find joy in the journey as well as arriving at the destination.
Right.
And sometimes I'm better at that than others.
Aren't we all?
Yes.
So our daughter Emily got to experience a change to her journey a few weeks ago.
Yep,
she had
did.
a big adventure. She had originally flown to Texas with me when we got the call about my mom.
Yep.
But she had to be back in Iowa on May 15th to start her new job.
Yeah.
So the flight to Texas was her first flight ever. She'd never been on an airplane before.
It's exciting.
And her return flight was her first solo flight. Yes. So, well, her return flight was an hour behind leaving San Angelo. So,
which happens a lot.
It happens a lot. But what that did was that pushed her to be too late for her connecting flight at DFW. So she had to reschedule that flight for the next morning. But what that meant was, she had to figure everything out. Like, what did she do with herself for that evening? Yes. So she could have panicked. She could have had a meltdown, all of those things. But she did not. No. She stayed very calm.
Yep, she got the meal vouchers.
She got in line, and she did all the things. She figured out the shuttle bus to and from the hotel and everything. And just thought the whole thing was funny. And I don't know many 20-year-olds that could just figure that stuff out and have as much fun as she did in the process.
Right. She made friends with the people standing in line with her at the airport and just made the best of the situation.
She did.
She even sent us a photo. There was this guy in line in front of her. Like, she had to wait for a long time to get to the counter to figure out her vouchers and stuff.
Yep.
And he had the biggest bag of tortillas you've ever seen. Like, this huge clear sack of tortillas.
Yep. Her caption was, "Only in Texas."
Only in Texas.
Yeah. When she FaceTimed me from the suite that put her in for the night, she just thought the whole situation was hilarious.
Yes.
She really was a rock star that night. I was so proud of her. I joked with her that this was a piece of cake compared to some of the pickles we've gotten ourselves in in the RV. Yeah. So, I just told her, we've been preparing you for this for your entire life. So, but I actually stayed pretty calm when she called me on the other end of the phone, too. So I'm sure that helped her kind of get through all the things, too.
Yeah, so she was a prime example of enjoying the journey that she had been placed on. That solo flight was her first time actually getting a window seat.
Yes.
Because you guys couldn't get window seats on the flights.
It was such short notice
So she was really happy about that. She had the window seat. She got to see everything she wanted to see. I mean, if you can cast your minds back to what your first flight was like, it's pretty exciting.
It was. She was pretty pumped.
Yeah, so she really did enjoy that journey.
Today, we're going to share with you 5 steps that you can take when you hit a bump on your journey of life. How you can learn to embrace the bumps and still enjoy the journey that you're on.
Step 1 is to take a deep breath and analyze the issue at hand. Be careful not to overthink, though.
Yeah.
Is that why that's my part there?
That's why you're saying that.
Yeah, okay. I like what you did there. Sometimes things go wrong for reasons that are entirely out of our control.
True.
Other times it happens because of a mistake or a misjudgment on our part.
We've experienced so many times when we've had to change our route due to things out of our control, like bad weather. As we said earlier, you got a little taste of that on the way down on this trip.
It was kind of crazy. So we had to shift the day that we were going to drive down I-35 a day earlier than we planned because we were keeping an eye on the radar. We both were.
Yeah.
And also we shifted our route further east and to go through Arkansas so that, we had a chance to get through it before it arrived. And then when we set out, the first day was beautiful. And then the second day, you wake me up with a text.
Yeah. Well, you decided to go through Kansas after all.
Yeah. So that happened before. Like we got to Kansas City where, you'd either take the route further east or you would carry on down I-35. And so I just had this feeling. I'm like, we're going to have to just keep going on I-35. I really think that's what we need to do. So I just went with my hunch, carried on down I-35. Then we stopped for the night. And I had my alarm go off at 6:30 that morning. And you texted me roughly at the same time as I was just sort of coming to. And you said, you've got some pretty bad weather. Just stay where you are for now. So I pull up the radar. I'm drinking my coffee. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I look outside. And it's starting to look pretty bad where we were at.
Yeah.
So we start packing up. Tyler is with me. And we start packing up the RV. And it's getting darker and darker and darker. And so, anyway, suddenly there's this huge crash of thunder and lightning outside the RV, like right over our head. All the lights went dim. Tyler was in the bathroom and he jumped out. His eyes were on stalks as he came out. So we packed up and we left. And we dodged every storm.
Yes.
On the way down. We just had to basically keep driving.
I screenshot the radar at one point, and it was literally like you were the dot in the middle, and it was the storm was literally in a circle all around them. And as they kind of drove through, it kind of opened up and went across. So
yeah, it was just one of those things where I kind of knew we would be okay, and we were on the plains, so you could see for miles.
Yeah.
In every direction.
Yeah.
So I could not only see the storms on the radar, I could see them in real life too. So that was just a act of deliverance to get us through those storms and get us to Texas.
It absolutely was. Yeah, like we said before, we've had to redirect due to wildfires on the West Coast and hurricanes coming in on the East Coast. And
yes, and we've also taken routes we shouldn't have due to poor judgment, lack of planning, and gotten stuck in spots where we couldn't proceed any further without somehow changing our direction. There was one time in Chicago.
Oh, yes.
Where we decided to take our rig right into the middle of downtown Chicago. And it
had been done before.
It had been done before.
We hadn't done it. But
we researched it, though.
We did.
And we took our rig into an overnight truck park there.
I just wanted to hop on here for a second and show you the most expensive RV site we have ever stayed in. This is in a parking lot outside of Soldier Field. And we stayed here last night when we went to the Coldplay concert, and just thought it was kind of funny. It is a dry camp spot or a boondock spot. Thankfully, we do have a generator, and so we have full power. We had our coffee this morning. It's actually a pretty quiet lot down here on this end. We've got a few kind of just empty big rigs, a couple of other RVs around. But yeah, there's a little train that goes through at night. There was one loud one last night, but for the most part, they're not too bad. But we just thought it was kind of funny that this is the most expensive site we have ever booked, but worth it because it was walking distance to Soldier Field.
It was fine. There was good clearances on all the bridges on the way in. Yep. And then we were like...
And we should have gone back that way on the way out.
Should have gone back the same way, but we didn't. We decided, let's just try the other way. Let's just try through downtown Chicago. It said it was a truck route.
It did say it was a truck route. It was not a truck route.
Like, there were railroad bridges coming across the road. It was like 11-foot clearances.
Yeah.
And so we ended up having to turn the whole rig around in a university parking lot and go back the way we should have gone in the first place, which was the way we came in.
Yes. In many cases, it can be helpful to reflect on the choices we made and think about what we could have done differently for a number of reasons so that we don't do those things again.
Yes.
Note to self, do not attempt to drive a large RV on unfamiliar streets in downtown Chicago.
Don't do that.
Even if they do say they're a truck route.
Right.
So, if you've listened to our Bloopers and Pickles episode, you know we've learned a lot of lessons along the way, most of them the hard way.
So, step 2, focus on the good. In tough situations, it's easy to feel angry, sad, or frustrated about what went wrong. It's so easy to get stressed and to just react.
Yes. It might be helpful in those situations to focus on managing your reaction and finding practical solutions. Emily's flying adventure was such a great example of this. She made up her mind to look for the positives in that situation. Making this conscious effort in a situation can help you have a more positive perspective on the challenges that you're facing.
Yes.
In her case, she learned some new things, and she gained a lot of confidence through this experience. She could indeed problem solve and navigate an interrupted journey that didn't go as planned.
Step 3, don't be afraid to ask for help. Dealing with difficult situations can be overwhelming, making it hard to think objectively.
Yes.
Especially if you're emotionally attached. Talking with a trusted friend, family member, or a health professional can be a helpful next step.
Yes, I really struggle with this one sometimes. It's really hard for me to ask for help sometimes.
Yes,
I'm a very independent. I can do it by myself, and Emily gets that from me too.
Yes.
And she has been saying that since she was a little bitty girl. I can do it by myself, and she's still that way, but she comes by it honestly.
Right.
But anyway, sometimes it's nice to have family or a friend to kind of commiserate with and talk through it with. And, you know, sometimes when you're having these conversations with somebody else that's been through something similar that you're going through, it makes you feel like you're just not facing it by yourself. You're not so alone. And I truly believe that sometimes we go through the things that we go through in life so that we can help others who face similar circumstances.
Absolutely.
Your mental health is very important. And as Paul mentioned earlier, we have both been through struggles with that in the past. But if you find yourself in a spiral at any point, please reach out to someone, talk to your doctor, talk to a trusted family member or friend. It's so important.
Talk to your service dog, whatever works.
She wants to be a part of this podcast today.
So, step 4, prepare yourself to move forward. A situation not going according to plan may leave you feeling angry, upset, confused, afraid, hurt, grieving, or even a combination of all of these things. While it's healthy to feel and move through your emotions rather than bottling them up or trying to ignore them, it will eventually be time to move forward.
Yeah, if we let the setbacks we had in our travels keep us from wanting to move forward and experience new things, we would have missed out on so many opportunities.
Yes.
It's sometimes easy to get stuck in one of those phases where we're bound by like the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Try to recognize when you've been caught in one of these phases for too long and just pray for the strength to move forward.
Yes. Remember that challenges are a part of life and often vessels for learning and growth.
And last but not least, step 5, try again. Mm-hmm. Take the lessons that you learned, adapt, and move forward on your journey. Emotional resilience involves learning from past experiences, implementing changes based on what you have learned, and trying again. If you let disappointments hold you back, you might miss out on potential opportunities for growth.
If we let hardships, challenges, or disappointments keep us down, we could miss out on all kinds of things that the Lord has planned for our future. Mm-hmm. Remember, it's important to rest and regroup when facing setbacks, as these tough times will pass. You'll get past them. Mm-hmm. The best way to grow is to embrace the one thing we can control, which is our response.
Yes.
And keep moving forward, refusing to let disappointments keep us from enjoying the journey that God has for each one of us.
Yes, it is inevitable that life will confront us with difficult situations where things are going to go wrong despite our best laid plans, right? Setbacks happen and they're just a part of life. But our ability to adapt and keep a joyful spirit about us through the hard times will provide us with immense joy for the journey of life.
Yes. We always enjoy sharing our experiences and challenging others to seek an adventure, whether it's for a weekend or for a lifetime.
Yes.
Life is too short to not to.
To not to.
To not to. So grab your spouse, grab your kids, grab a friend, grab the dog, go somewhere you've never been before. If you like to camp, pitch a tent. If you have a camper, hook it up. If you prefer a hotel, book it. Learn about the area.
Yeah, see the sights, take a hike, take a drive off the interstate through small town America, visit a museum or a historical marker, learn something new, talk to a park ranger, talk to a stranger, make a new friend, be a light, spread love, joy, and laughter.
Make memories, give thanks, just live.
Yes.
We may not ever fully understand the journey God has had our family on, but we are so grateful because every place we have been points us right back to Him.
Absolutely. When we started out on the road, we didn't have a final destination in mind.
No.
We just went in faith. Where He led us, we followed. I do know that every stop on our journey along the way has been prayed over. The people that we have met along the way have been prayed over. We truly believe that God has had us on a mission through this time. Maybe it's to bless someone along our journey. Maybe it's to be here for our family for a season. Maybe it's to inspire someone to take a leap of faith.
Maybe we were led to this adventure to meet new people from different places. Maybe it's to spread love. Maybe it's so you, dear listener, can visit places through us that you've never been to. Maybe it's to strengthen our family bonds. Maybe it's to give our children experiences and an education that will help them fulfill the purpose that God has for them. Maybe it's to stretch our faith and teach us to be obedient and to rely on Him alone.
Maybe it's simply so we can tell you stories about our experiences and sum it all up by sharing how great God is. And to let you know how much He loves you.
In Hebrews 11, verses 8 through 10, it says this: By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him of the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God.
Happy journeys, friends. And remember to go where God calls you.
Yes.
Even if you can't see where he's leading, just obey and go. Pitch your tent, even when you feel like you're in a foreign land. Count your blessings. Walk in faith. Love your neighbor. Your journey might look different from ours. But at the end of the day, remember this. This world is not our home.
No.
We are just passing through.
Life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And don't forget to keep your eyes open for the beautiful views along the way.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. So what's in the works for the next episode?
Well, we needed a lighthearted episode in our lives.
Yes, we did.
So the next episode is going to be kind of a fun one.
Yes, it is.
Are you ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I thought it would be fun to tell the story of when my British guy moved to Texas to marry me.
Oh my.
He's going to talk about all the interesting things he had to adapt to.
And there were many.
The cultural differences between England and Texas.
Yes.
And how he got along with my West Texas family.
It's something.
Prepare to be entertained.
And I've gotten to relive some of that all over again, coming back to Texas this time.
Yes, you have.
You tend to forget,
Yes.
the certain degree of intensity, the heat, all the other things, the
Yes.
food, everything.
So much food.
So this will be our 5th episode coming up of the Beautiful View on the Road mini-series, and we'll be recording once again from Candy's hometown of San Angelo, Texas.
Yes. If you know of someone who would enjoy this podcast, please point them in our direction.
Yes.
Visit us at Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. Share our post or share the link to our podcast. You can also watch a video recording, hello to our video watchers, of our most recent podcast on YouTube.
Yes.
The link to that is also in our show notes.
Also, we would really appreciate it if you would follow, subscribe to, or leave a review for us on either YouTube or your favorite podcasting platform. These things are completely free for you to do, but really helps new people find the Beautiful View podcast.
Yes, and shout out to the Hopeful Few for the catchy theme song that you hear on this episode and that you will now be humming for the rest of your day. You're welcome. You can check out more of their music on Spotify or Apple Music, and the links to those are in our show notes.
If you have questions you would like us to answer or suggestions for things you would like us to talk about in our future podcasts, email us at beautifulviewpod@gmail.com.
And just a reminder, please consider joining the Beautiful View Patreon. This helps us keep these episodes coming and helps cover our costs. Memberships are only $5 a month. Again, the link is in our show notes, and it's also on our social media accounts.
We hope you have a great day, and remember to always keep an eye open for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hand I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going too. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go